Hello, test, mic test. Hello.
Learned members of the bar, family members of late Justice Ms. SUGNYABEN and late Justice Mr. H.R. SHELAT, ladies and gentlemen. My esteemed brother and sister judges, distinguished former judges, Shri Kamal Trivedi, Learned Advocate General, Manisha Laukumar, Learned Government Pleader, Nitish Shamni, Learned Public Prosecutor, Mr. Devang Vyas, Learned Additional Solicitor General of India, Learned Central and State Law Officers, Mr. Kishore Bhai Trivedi, Chairman, Gujarat State Bar Council and members of the State Bar Council, Mr. Asim Pandya, President, Mr. Prithviraj Singh Jadeja, Vice President, Mr. Hardik Brahmabhat, Secretary, and other office bearers and members of the Gujarat High Court Advocates Association, learned registrars and other members of the Registry of the High Court, distinguished senior advocates, ladies and gentlemen. We have assembled here today to mourn the sad demise of Justice SUGNYABEN and Justice H.R. SHELAT, former judges of this court, by recounting their personalities, qualities, achievements and contributions. Although I was not fortunate enough to interact with these honourable judges, I have received inputs about them from my esteemed colleagues, senior members of the bar and the registry, which I wish to share. Justice Kamala Shankar Bhatt was born on 25th September 1941. She graduated from Gujarat College in the year 1962 with speciality in English and psychology. Ms. Justice Bhatt passed her LLB from Sir L.A. Shaw Law College in the year 1968-69 and passed the Bar Council examination in the year 1971. She enrolled as an advocate of the Gujarat High Court on 28 February 1968 and started practice at the High Court as well as on the original side in the City Civil Court at Ahmedabad. She was directly appointed as Judge, City Civil Court, Ahmedabad on 15th March 1982 and she was the first woman judge of the City Civil and Sessions Court, Ahmedabad. She was confirmed provisionally as Judge, City Civil Court, Ahmedabad, with effect from 1st October 1989. Thereafter, she was promoted and appointed as Additional Principal Judge, City Civil Court, Ahmedabad, with effect from 22nd November 1990. Between 1990 and 1994, she conducted anti-corruption cases, CBI investigation cases, and she became the only designated TADA judge. On 17th October 1994, she was elevated as additional judge of this court. She was again the first woman judge to be elevated to the post of additional judge of High Court of Gujarat. She was transferred to Kerala High Court and required to assume her office on 4th November 1994. However, citing personal reasons, she did not join Kerala High Court, and therefore she ceased to be a judge with effect from 2nd January 1995. In March 1997, she was offered to run the State Judicial OBC Commission of Government of Gujarat as chairperson, which post she had held till her demise. In the year 2006, Justice Sugnyabet was entrusted with the task of probing the Surat floods. Justice Bhatt died of COVID-19 in a private hospital in Ahmedabad on 10th February 2022 at the age of 80. She is survived by her younger sister, Bharti, who is a gynecologist. I have received a note from Dr. Bharti K. Bhatt, her sister, the sister of late Justice Sugnyabet, with a fervent request to read out the same, and few paragraphs are being read out. I quote, "Respected judiciary fraternity, Justice Sugnyabet had set many milestones, being the first lady judge in City Civil Court and Gujarat High Court. She often faced many storms and managed not only to survive, but came out triumphant. Jokingly, she always used to say, 'Thanks to this man's world, there is hardly any time to think what gender I belong to.' She believed firmly that it is competition and challenges in life which are very necessary for progress and development. But she further specifies that it should only be with the self which makes you grow and gain knowledge with every challenge and help you to become better than the best, which ultimately gives you internal peace, joy, and job satisfaction. She also believed that work is worship and there are many ways to reach Lord Almighty. Fulfilling assigned duties selflessly and with all the knowledge and strength at hand within reach is no less than silent prayers and meditation. Her character was like a rock in an ocean which not only stands the stormy waves but also quietens them. She sincerely believed that each individual is unique and has something special to offer to humanity. And each individual should try to work and find it out to make performance perfect. Here, Suganya, being a student of English literature, I would quote Longfellow, "Lives of great men, all reminders we can make our lives sublime, and departing leave behind us footprints on the sense of time," unquote. I would end my narration with the famous poetry written by Helen Keller, quote, "Brighten the corner where you are. We cannot all be famous or be listed in who is who, but every person, great or small, has important work to do. The dark old world would very soon eclipse an evening star if everybody brightened up the corner where they are," unquote. Thank you very much for holding this meeting. On behalf of all the butts, I especially thank the judicial fraternity, unquote. Justice Harivardhan Ratanlal Shelat, lovingly known as Harivardhan Bhai, was born on 2nd March 1939 at Umred in Anand district. His father, Sri Ratanlal Hiralal Shelat, was a known advocate in Umred court, and mother, Srimati Madhukanta Ben Ratanlal Shelat, was a homemaker. Justice Shelat completed his schooling from Jubilee Institution, Umred. He was very clear in his mind to become a judge. He completed his Bachelor of Arts with Political Science and Law from MS University, Vadodara, and LLB from L.A. Shaw College, Ahmedabad. He enrolled as an advocate on 15th December 1962 and practiced in civil and criminal side at Umred, Dakor, Tasara, Anand, and Nadiad. He was married to Dr. Daksha Ben, and out of the wedlock they have 3 sons. He was appointed as a civil judge and judicial magistrate first class on 14th August 1967. On 11th May 1987, he was appointed as Joint District Judge Surat. Thereafter, on 24th February 1989, he was appointed as District and Sessions Judge, Bhavnagar. He worked as District and Sessions Judge at Surendranagar and thereafter at Navsari. He was elevated to the bench of this court on 18 September 1995 as additional judge and confirmed as permanent judge with effect from 18th August 1998. He retired on 2nd March 2001. After retirement, he was appointed as chairman, Gujarat Public Works Contract Dispute Arbitration Tribunal for 3 years. Thereafter, he was appointed as a member of the advisory board in respect of all the detention matters, namely PASA board, Coffee Posa, NSA, black marketing, and worked as such for many years. He was also conducting arbitration matters. I am informed that since childhood, he was a disciplined student and always preferred to be well dressed. He was fond of playing lawn tennis during college days. Reading has been his hobby since many years, and he had collected many books in his personal library. He was also fond of traveling and traveled to most of the tourist and religious places in India and Nepal. He was also interested in astrology and studied astrology and was able to understand the language of planets very well and used to follow movement of planets on daily basis. Justice H.R. Shelat passed away on 20th February 2022. He is survived by his wife, Dr. Dakshaben Harivardhan Shelat, sons Shri Ashish Harivardhan Shelat, settled in India, Shri Nehal Harivardhan Shelat, settled in Canada, and Shri Urvish Harivardhan Shelat, settled in USA. Passing away of Justice Sugnyabet and Justice Shelat have caused loss to their family, friends, and entire legal fraternity. On their death, we have lost not only two eminent judges, but also two great human beings. I, on my own behalf and on behalf of all my sister and brother judges, express my heartfelt condolences to the members of the bereaved families. May the Almighty give them strength to bear the great loss and overcome the grief. May the departed souls rest in eternal peace.
My lords, on behalf of the legal fraternity of the state of Gujarat and my own behalf, while associating with the sentiments that have followed from my lord, Honorable the Chief Justice, I express our deep sense of sorrow on the said demise of two former judges of our High Court, Honorable Ms. Justice Sugnyaben Kamalashnkar Bhatt and Honorable Mr. Justice Harivardhan Ratanlal Shelat. Thus goes a circumstantially befitting adage. A citizen is ranked in the society not according to wealth or power, but according to the standard of learning and virtues, which had attained, and Sugnaben and Harivardhan Bhai were indeed such persons. Their life sketch reminds me of a popular story of Emperor Bimbisar, a true follower of Lord Mahavir, who made it an invariable practice to bow in reverence before Jain sadhus. His minister thought that it was wrong and improper for a great emperor to bow before sadhus. Bimbisar's answer was, I quote, "After all, I am doing obeisance to them as a mark of my deep respect for their learning, wisdom, and sacrifice. What matters in life is not a person's status or position, but his virtues and wisdom. The finest minds and hearts may be hidden in ugly mortal frames. Only when you have risen yourself up from ignorance can you recognize the greatness of a few in a sea of humanity. Just as a good jeweler alone can spot a gem among worthless pebbles." I quote. As referred to by my lord, late Justice Sugnaben Bhatt was born on 25th April 1941 in Surat. After finishing schooling, she completed her graduation in art stream from Gujarat College, where English literature was her favorite subject. After obtaining a degree in law, Justice Bhatt enrolled as an advocate on 28th February 1968 and started practicing mainly on a civil side, and soon established herself as a formidable lawyer with an exceptional command over English language. I distinctly recall that sometime in the year 1979-80, one afternoon when I was sitting along with my lawyer friend on a corner table in District Law Library of our Ahmedabad City Civil Court at Badra, she came and sat with us, and during the course of discussion, somehow we had got engaged in a dialogue with respect to various plays of William Shakespeare. It was at that moment that I came to know for the first time as to how did Shakespeare had coined the expression pound of flesh uttered by Shylock, a moneylender and the most villainous character in the play of The Merchant of Venice. While narrating the highlights of the play, she had beautifully explained to me about the usage of the said expression, which refers to a lawful but unreasonable recompense during late 18th century. So was her greatest insight in English literature, apart from law. On 15th March 1982, she was appointed as a judge in City Civil Court and Sessions Court, Ahmedabad, and subsequently on 22nd November 1990, was promoted as additional principal judge in the City Civil Court, Ahmedabad. As an additional principal judge, she showed her capacity and was instrumental in implementing beneficial reforms in the administration of City Civil and Sessions Court of Ahmedabad. She adjudicated a large number of civil, criminal, and TARA cases with a great courage and high success record. She was a stern administrator and a firm disciplinarian. On 17th October 1994, Justice Bhatt became the first woman judge to be elevated to the position of additional judge of this honorable court. Justice Bhatt was then transferred to Kerala High Court, but owing to personal reasons, she declined and left the judiciary with effect from 2nd January 1995. Thereafter, on 29th March 1997, Justice Bhatt was appointed as the chairperson of Other Backward Classes Commission, which was earlier headed by the former Chief Justice of this honorable court, late Justice Sri P.R. Gokulkrishnan. The commission has been formed by the state government to include the citizens of the state in the list of other backward classes, as well as to check representations of over-inclusion or under-inclusion, where Justice Bhatt was quite active till a few days before her demise. During that time in 2006, she was also tasked with investigating the Surat floods caused by the abrupt release of a large amount of water from Mukai Dam into Tapi River. Justice Bhatt is no more with us. She passed away on 10th February 2022 at the age of 80 years from multiple organ dysfunction syndrome while being treated for COVID-19 in a private hospital in Ahmedabad. Late Justice Bhatt is survived by her younger sister, Dr. Bhartiben, a leading gynecologist of the city who has presently devoted her life in spiritual activities. Late Justice H.R. Shelat was born on 2nd March 1939 in Anand district in its small town called Umret, which place is well known for producing eminent judges and prominent lawyers. After finishing schooling from Jubilee Institution in Umret, Justice Shelat graduated in arts with the main subject of political science from MS University, Vadodara, and thereafter pursued his studies in law from St. Elisha Law College, Ahmedabad. On 15 December 1962, Justice Shelat got enrolled as an advocate and started practicing in civil and criminal matters in various cities of Gujarat state. During the aforesaid period, though Justice Shelat established himself as a versatile lawyer, his heart was always looking for the process of dispensation of justice, and that was how, on 14th August 1967, he was appointed as a judge, civil judge, junior division, and judicial magistrate first class. On 11th May 1987, he was promoted as a joint district judge Surat, and on 24th February 1989, as a district and sessions judge Bhavnagar. His lordship was appointed as the district and sessions judge at Surendranagar and Navsari until his elevation as additional judge of this honorable court on 18 September 1995 and was confirmed as a permanent judge on 18th August 1998. Justice Shelat was a warm-hearted and human person coming from a very humble background. He was down to earth and very kind to one and all, and more particularly to the junior advocates of the bar. He was revered the most amongst the legal fraternity, more particularly because of his affable and uplifting nature. His lordship's contribution in terms of judgments in all the branches of law is a matter of legion. After retirement on 2nd March 2001, as was referred to by my lord, his lordship was appointed the chairman of the Gujarat Public Works Contract Dispute Arbitration Tribunal for 3 years. Thereafter, he was also appointed as a member of the advisory board in respect of retention matters under PASA, COFEPOSA, and Prevention of Black Marketing Act, and worked for several years. Besides this, Justice Shelat was presiding as an arbitrator in various arbitration matters. In later years, he also provided legal aid to those in need by offering free advice. Apart from law books, Sri Shelat was a voracious reader, and his love for books was reflected in his immensely rich library. He was not only interested in astrology, but he had also studied it. He was able to understand the language of planets and track their movement on a daily basis. He was very much fond of traveling and photography. Justice Shelat is no more with us. He passed away on 20th February 2022 at the age of 82 years due to pneumonia after battling with evil of COVID-19. Late Justice Shelat is survived by his wife, Dr. GUJARAT-28, and 3 sons. Eldest son, Shri Ashish Bhai, is a consultant in a leading multinational company providing broadband distribution services called GTPL Hathway Limited, whereas Shri Nehal Bhai is a chartered accountant settled in Canada, and the youngest son, Shri Urvish Bhai, is a software engineer settled in the US. In Tulsikut Ramayan in Ayodhya Kand, on the death of King Dashratha, Vasisht Muni told Bharatji, I quote, Sochim Vipra jo Veda Vihina, Taja Nija Dharma Vishaya Lailina. I unquote, meaning thereby, death of Brahmin is never sorrowful, more particularly when he has studied Vedas and has followed his religion and work and perform his duty without being selfish. We wish that Justice Bhatt and Justice Shelat had remained with us longer. But God has willed otherwise. However, their memory will always remain with us. On behalf of the bar and the legal profession of the state, I convey the heartfelt condolences to bereaved family members of Justice Bhatt and Justice Shelat. May the departed souls rest in peace eternally.
Please, my lords. Honorable Chief Justice, Mr. Radin Pawar, Honorable other judges, Learned Advocate General, Mr. Kamal Trivedi, Learned Government Leader, Ms. Manisha Laukumar, Learned Public Prosecutor, Mr. Mitesh Amir, Learned Additional Solicitor General, Mr. Devang Vyas, family members of Honorable Justice Ms. Sugna Bhatt and Honorable Justice H.R. Shelat, members of the registry, senior advocates, and my lawyer friends at the bar. I personally, and on behalf of the Gujarat High Court Advocates associate myself with the sentiments of grief and sorrow fallen from the Honorable Chief Justice and Learned Advocate General. It is indeed very sad that we lost 2 honorable retired judges of this court in a very short span of 10 days. Shorn of repetition, it is necessary to state that Honorable Justice Ms. Sugna Bhatt was the first woman judge elevated to the bench in the High Court of Gujarat in the year 1994. It was unfortunate that for more than 33 years of the establishment of the Gujarat High Court, we did not have a woman judge on the bench. Her appointment as a High Court judge, therefore, can be considered to be a historical event for all of us. In my view, Justice Sugna Bhatt deserves the same place in the history of women judges in India as occupied by Justice Miss Anna Chandi, Justice Leela Sheth, Justice Fatima Bibi, who were the first judges to achieve judgeship. Justice Miss Chandi as a first judge and High Court judge in Kerala, Justice Leela Sheth as first Chief Justice, and Justice Fatima Bibi as first Supreme Court judge. The importance of the event lies in the fact that in India, women had undertaken a very long struggle to get an entry in the profession of law as an advocate. The story of Justice Sugna Bhatt is no less important than the stories of Miss Cornelia Sorabji, Miss Regina Guha, and Miss Sudhanshu Wala Hajra, who made valiant efforts to enter in the male-dominant profession of law. Miss Cornelia Sorabji's struggle paid her dues in the year 1921 and 22, after 25 years of her passing the bar examination in England. However, the efforts of Miss Regina Guha and Sudhanshu Wala Hajra to get entry in the legal profession failed by a narrow interpretation of Legal Practitioners Act and the relevant charters. The Privy Council also did not lend its helping hand to Miss Sudhanshu Wala Hajra on technical grounds. Finally, the struggle of women to enter into the profession of law came to an end with the passing of the Women's Rights to Practice Law Act 1923. The brief account of history is relevant at this stage for the reason that after India having achieved independence in the year 1947, it took 46 years to appoint a woman judge in the High Court of Gujarat. Honorable late Justice Sugna Bhatt therefore truly deserves special kudos for her struggle in the male-dominant profession of law and reaching the most coveted post of a High Court judge. I personally did not have an opportunity to interact with Justice Ms. Sugna Bhatt or appearing before her ladyship. However, from whatever I have heard about her, I came to know that she was a very disciplined judge. She would not shirk her duties and would write judgments fearlessly. I have faint memory that after her elevation in the High Court of Gujarat, she adorned the chair for a few days only, and thereafter she was transferred to Kerala, where she did not join for her personal reasons. Her journey as a bold and fearless judge abruptly came to an end by not joining the transferred place. As a result thereof, we are deprived of benefits of our legal acumen and vast experience as a trial court judge. Honorable Justice Sugnyabed died after a brief illness on 10th February 2022. Honorable Justice H.R. Shelat was elevated as High Court Judge in the year 1995, and he served this institution for a reasonably long time. Whenever somebody refers to his name, it brings to my mind his calm and serene personality. I have had many opportunities to appear before Justice Mr. H.R. Shelat. He had a great ability of grasping facts quickly, and he possessed clarity in civil, criminal, and constitutional law as well. He would give patient hearing to all lawyers, irrespective of the standing of a lawyer in the profession. He was very straightforward judge, not possible to be influenced by external pressures of any kind. During his career as a High Court judge, I had never seen him getting angry or losing his cool anytime. He has penned down many landmark judgments during his tenure as a High Court judge. In Chandrakant Muljibe Parikh versus State of Gujarat reported in 2001 GLR, he issued directions to frame rules when one ex-MLA was denied pension on the ground that government had not framed the rules. Justice Shelat noted that under the guise of having not framed the rules, the government wanted to avoid the payment of pension and defy the mandate of legislature and impair the rights of pension acquired by the ex-MLA. He further stated that court could not afford to sit in the ivory tower of isolation. The executive has to carry out the mandate of legislature expressed through the statutes. If that mandate is disregarded, harmony of three organs of the government would be destroyed, and that would be contrary to the democratic system and rule of law. In Tata Chemical versus Aditya Nagar Panchayat, Justice Shelat held that when time limit is not fixed by a statute for a particular action, the law of limitation must be borne in mind. The learned judge incorporated the concept of a reasonable time limit for raising a particular claim and held that stale claim takes shape of arbitrariness and unreasonableness, which cannot be allowed. The same being inequitable, vexatious, oppressive, and excruciating and upsetting the claims settled long before. Upon the death of Honorable Sugnyabed and Honorable Justice H.R. Shelat, we have lost two simple, forthright, humble, and noble judges. We will, however, cherish their memories through their contribution in the field of law. I personally and on behalf of the Gujarat High Court Advocate Association express my heartfelt condolences to the family members of Justice Ms. Sugnyabed and Justice Mr. H.R. Shelat, and pray that Almighty may give them strength to sustain the loss of their family member. Om Shanti.
As a mark of respect to the departed souls, 2-minute silence shall be observed. The Registrar General may convey the message of condolences to the members of the bereaved family. As a mark of respect to the departed soul, the proceedings of the court would stand suspended for the rest of the day.